It's time to start your morning by taking 5. Here's your host, Matt McMaster.
You're listening to Take 5, quick 5-minute take on the biggest things happening in Nebraska sports. I am your host, Matt McMaster, and today is the day the NFL season begins. The Dallas Cowboys take on the Philadelphia Eagles. At Philly, banner night will be absolutely incredible. The Cowboys, Eagles, a tale as old as time. Two teams that have always been good in the NFC East for the last couple of years. Well, sans last year, but, before that, Cowboys had 3 straight 12-win seasons competing against the Eagles. But it has kind of been weird between these two teams where Dak Prescott hasn't always been available to play against the Eagles. He's actually shockingly been injured for a number of Eagles games, but should be a good matchup tonight. It will be very interesting, the storylines of how Dallas's defense will look with the trading of Micah Parsons over to the Green Bay Packers. But I do want to mention them getting Kenny Clark, a Pro Bowl defensive tackle who has played nose tackle in the past, will actually do wonders for their defense, especially that it's run under Matt Eberflus, who, if you know Matt Eberflus's defenses, it needs a nose tackle. It needs that big 0 or that 3 technique in the trenches, just eating up blocks for your athletic linebackers could come in and swoop. So I do think the trade, while it was terrible, no matter how you slice it, they did get a quality piece in Kenny Clark. The spread for that game, 8.5. I think the Eagles are clearly going to win this game, but I do think that the Cowboys will cover. I think just 8.5 was way too much for a Week 1 game. This year. It's just Week 1 is always so weird. So Eagles over the Cowboys tonight. Best bet for me, though, would probably be George Pickens plus 50 yards. I would even say plus 60 yards receiving if you want to get some plus money for sure on that. Just because, look, despite the fact that the Eagles do have a really good defense, returning a pretty solid secondary overall, get Vic Fangio and his zone defense. It's a team that their second cornerback position is under massive scrutiny. I don't really know if they know who they're going to play, whether it be Bennett, whether it be Ringo, whether it be Adoree Jackson. Just has not looked good during camp, and in a very under-the-radar move this offseason, the Cowboys did trade for what I consider one of the better wide receivers in the AFC last season in George Pickens. So love Pickens tonight, either over 50, I'd even go over 60 receiving yards for a team that in Dallas is going to have to pass the ball a ton this season. So that's the breakdown for tonight's game that will kick off the NFL season. I'll give you some picks this year and just kind of my preview of how the season will go. First and foremost, we'll just do who I think will be in the playoffs, and we'll do who I think will win some awards, and I'll just do a quick synopsis on all that. So my NFC East champions are the Washington Commanders. In the North, the Packers. In the South, the Buccaneers. And in the NFC West, I love the Seattle Seahawks. That's a surprise pick for a lot of people. I think with the Seahawks, great defense, returned a ton of starters from last year's unit, which was really, really good. I don't think I necessarily agreed with moving off of Geno Smith and sending him to Las Vegas, but Sam Darnold, still incredibly capable. You got a really good runner in Kenneth Walker, along with Jackson Smith and Jigba on the outside. I think the Seahawks are going to surprise a lot of people this year. My wild cards, Eagles, Rams, and 49ers. I think the Eagles take a step back. They were the second least injured team last year. I do think there's going to be some regression with Saquon Barkley. If you look at historically running back seasons after they have 300 touches, they just always seem to regress. And despite the fact that Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback and they do have good weapons, the identity of that team and will push that team over the top was the performance of Saquon. I don't think he's going to be the same this year. I got Rams and the 49ers and my wild cards. I think that just the Rams are a very solid team, growing on defense, getting better and better each year. And the 49ers, they're going to be healthy. I think you can't expect them to be as healthy as they were 2 seasons ago, but I don't think you can expect them to be as unhealthy as they were last year. They also, by far, bar none, easily have the easiest schedule in the NFL this season. All right, in the AFC, out of the East, I got the Bills. Out of the North, I got the Ravens. Out of the South, I got the Texans. Out of the West, I got the Chiefs. Pretty chalk. Wild cards for me, Chargers, Patriots, and Bengals. I think the Bengals had a weird season last year. They lost a lot of weird games. They should have made the playoffs. I mean, even if they just beat New England, who was a terrible team last year in week 1, that is enough to put them over the edge and put them in the offs. You got to think that with the focus on defense that they've had this offseason, that they're going to be, at least minimally slightly better, that can get them over into that 23rd, 24th defense. I don't think that puts them in Super Bowl contention, but it definitely puts them in playoff contention if Joe Burrow and Ja'Marr Chase perform the way that they did at the end of last season. Chargers, solid team. Love Coach Harbaugh. It's going to be a big year for Justin Herbert. I mean, we talk about the big four, Burrow, Jackson, Allen, Mahomes. This is the year to see if Herbert can break into that. And then I love the Patriots. I think the Patriots, Mike Vrabel, I think that defense is going to take a step up. I'm all over Drake May in his year two. I think what this boils down to, though, is they're favored in 11 games this season. I mean, they play a very favorable schedule, another easy schedule, last place schedule for the Patriots. So, I think New England is going to take advantage of that. And I just think Vrabel and adding Stephon Diggs on the outside and shoring up some things in the offensive line is going to do wonders for Drake May, who I think can take a next step into being a really good quarterback. All right, MVP Joe Burrow, best quarterback by far in the second half of last season. If they make the playoffs, I think that's a lock. Christian McCaffrey is my offensive player of the year. Basically a full year's of rest to get over his incredible season from 2 years ago. That's kind of where I'm basing why I think that Saquon will kind of take a step back the way that I believe he will. But full rest, easy schedule is going to be relied on heavily, especially with Deebo Samuel now in Washington. So give me Christian McCaffrey, offensive player of the year. Defense player of the year, it's written in the stars, Michael Parsons. I mean, this is just his year to go out and grab it. He's got 12 sacks in 13 games last year, and he was playing uninspired ball because his team was terrible. He's going to be playing incredibly inspired ball at Lambeau Field this season. And then offensive rookie of the year is Emeka Egbuka, the wide receiver out of Ohio State. With Egbuka, if you've been reading the training camp reports, he's quickly become one of Baker Mayfield's best targets in training camp. If you're into fantasy football, you're drafting fantasy football, I'm telling you right now, I would not draft Chris Godwin out of Tampa Bay, not because of his injury, but because of the fact that when I think he comes back, the genie's going to be out of the bottle, and he's going to lose a lot of his targets to Egbuka. All right, so I have, in the NFC Championship game, the Washington Commanders and the Green Bay Packers. Give me the Commanders. And in the AFC Championship game, I have the Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens. I think the Chiefs got better this year. They got better on offense. They got better at the offensive line. Their defense is still incredibly solid. They got Steve Spagnuolo. They got one of the two best quarterbacks in the NFL that week in and week out, when the going gets tough, he has stepped up. He has won these close games. I think that, for some teams, there is that positive regression, negative regression, that trend of you're not going to win all the one-score games. Patrick Mahomes has won so many one-score games to the point where it's just, I'm not going to not believe in his ability to do that. So I don't think any of these rosters in the AFC are heads above heels better than the Chiefs. And so in a close game, give me Patrick Mahomes over Josh Allen. Give me Patrick Mahomes over Lamar Jackson. Give me Patrick Mahomes over the guys that he's beaten time in and time again, and has been proven when the going gets tough and the bell needs to be answered, he answers the bell better than anybody else. So I will take the Chiefs to make the Super Bowl once again, which will be a hell of an accomplishment, and I'll take them to win it all. I think they do it. I think they go 3 and 4 years. I think last year's ass-kicking in the Super Bowl was what they needed. I just think that the Commanders, while they're a very good team and they're going to ride this very magical wave, they might just be a little bit too young to win a game like that against a team that is so incredibly experienced. So that is my prediction. Chiefs over Commanders in the Super Bowl. Lock it in. That's been Take 5, and I've been Matt McMaster.